Couple of different things. First off, we joyfully welcome back just for the weekend Deacon Bob Dangle and his wife Marianne. It's wonderful to have you here with us. Deacon was 2 deacons ago, so Lloyd is here now, and Deacon Wywoody was before that, and then Deacon Dangle. And so I know I've been here a long time when I have survived 3 deacons, which is a good thing. Secondly, and this is a couple of side notes. First off, my brother obviously has stepped down as full-time vocation director, so if you see him, give him a congratulations on 8 incredibly strong years. He served longer than any other vocation director in the diocese and brought in more seminarians during his time than any of the vocation directors in the history of the diocese. And so we have many tremendous men coming that are going to be ordained. I want to say over the next 4 years, probably going to butcher this, but I think over the next 4 or 5 years, we ordain 17 priests. It's unheard of. Like, there's no other diocese in the country, or for that matter, I haven't even heard one in the world. That's why the Pope himself knows specifically about what's going on here, because the larger church, certainly the church of this country, has got all eyes on this diocese, trying to figure out what in the heck is going on and why we have so many vocations. And it can really be attributed to a couple of different things. First off is the people, and I really believe the traditional values of the Diocese of Bismarck, North Dakota, that still allow for the expression of our Catholic Christian faith, which is more extraordinary these days than what we realize. It is freely talked about, it is freely lived without shame or fear. And I'm going to speak a little bit about this appeal, but I watched the town hall, I think would be the right way of referring to it, regarding this LGBTQ plus flag that was flown from our state's building, courthouse. That sort of came out of nowhere, and as fast as it went up, it came down due to a public negative reaction. And then there was this public hearing in which the mayor and the city council members were at. And one of the gentlemen during that time expressed, every pastor in this city should be here. I didn't even know it was happening. And so as your pastor, I want to apologize. Not only to you, but to all Christians of this city, that I wasn't there. That man was absolutely right. Anybody representing Jesus Christ in this city should have been at that meeting and should have been a very vocal voice, or at least presence, of disagreement and, resistance against that demonic force. And it is a demonic force. It is absolutely anti-Christ. And you've heard me say that before. And so what it seeks to do is raise itself up and push everybody else out, and we're all just supposed to cower before it. We're not. And so I figured I should speak publicly about it. Father Nelson and I are devising a little bit more of a plan as to how to address the mayor within the whole thing, to express our tremendous displeasure with his stance, along with other city council members. But here in this diocese, this city, these types of things aren't tolerated, and you can still, as a Christian, in a free, constitutionally governed country, stand up and oppose what is against the God that we serve, not only in the religious realm, but in the political realm. If you get to the coasts and many other places in this country, that is just disappearing. Our freedoms are absolutely disappearing right now, and we're not doing a thing about it. We're just going along with the flow, right? As I've said numerous times, we've got, you can go down to the liquor store and get a bottle of booze, but, or in Nevada, you can go to a casino or a brothel, but you can't go to Mass. Think about that. That's persecution. That's not safety. That's not CDC. That is absolutely hypocritical, double standard, anti-Christ persecution. Where it goes, I don't know, but that's my segue into this God Share appeal. Because this year isn't like other years. And I want to commend all of you regarding our collections and capital campaign. So the fact of the matter is that St. Leo's is doing absolutely phenomenal right now financially. We're a little bit behind. But considering what we have been through economically, and I know the market seemingly is, doing good and then not so good, but doing good overall. But the financial fallout that is lurking in the background of this thing, anybody who's watching what's going on with small businesses in the country, and the potential of what's being projected as far as bankruptcies and everything goes, the future is not looking good. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you. If I do not believe, and I hope to God I'm wrong, but I think this is going to be one of the most tumultuous years that we have ever had in our life. And the foundation of what is going to get us through this is going to be our Catholic faith, of which the foundation of it obviously is Jesus, but Jesus is not just the head of a religion, Jesus is the father of this family. And yes, we have our own individual earthly families, but this world, as Paul says, is dying away. This family is the only family that you have forever. And this family and the traditional family has been under attack in this country now for 5 decades. And the devil himself has divided us at such a level that the entire society is beginning to break down. And so the call of Jesus during this time is to return not only to your immediate family and reconcile, as we hear all through the gospel today, forgiveness more than anything else. Even Father Russ talking about this Corazon, marriage program, husband and wives finding their love for each other again. If you are married, that is your duty. But this family here coming together as this thing gets out of control. We are all that we have. And if we take care of this first, everything else will follow. There's nothing that we can't get through if we do it together, with Jesus as the absolute unity of where we're going and what we're doing and how we're going to get there. And so my plea to you right now, on behalf of Bishop Kagan, who, if you would have told me when I was in seminary that I would have been a beggar for Jesus, you're going to celebrate the Mass, most of what I do is beg. And so I'm not only begging as usual for the parish, of which you are always so wonderfully responsive, but on behalf of the bishop, who really is begging on behalf of the whole diocese for the central administration of everything, which is very important. I'm sure they can make some cuts, and I'm sure they have, and I'm sure they will if they need to. But at the end of the day, we need what he has at the diocesan level to keep all of this running correctly, and we're going to need it more than ever this year. And so if what we do is we take care of what belongs to Jesus first, and this gets into tithing, right? Tithe means 10%, and it is mentioned more in the Old Testament and also in the New than you can imagine. The bishop is saying of that 10%, which should be given off the top of what we make, not the last, right? Cain and Abel. Abel brings the first fruits of his crop. Cain brings the last. Cain's is rejected. Abel's is accepted. Cain kills Abel out of jealousy. So we bring the first fruits of what we have because God is the most important. And out of that 10%, Bishop is saying 1%, he's asking, of that 10%, if you are able to be given generously to his causes at the diocesan level this year in God's share. The reason why I'm a little bit more fervent with this is because it's been pushed, the economy is unstable, and one of the worst things that could happen right now, which is happening across this country, is that these collections are coming up drastically short. Underneath the surface of what we've been experiencing, we have lost over 35% of our Catholic schools in this country. Now think about that. Ironically, 10 years ago, we went on a crusade to get them where they are now, otherwise we'd probably be gone too. But Catholic schools are closing in droves right now because of all of this lockdown, tuition, online learning, all of this stuff. Parishes across this country, parishes in this diocese are thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars behind in their operational, annual budget because no collections have been coming in because they're totally locked down, and in many cases, some of them are still locked down. And so when do we start losing our churches? And if the bishop's collections start coming up short, then we start losing whole programs. Or worse yet, you heard the figure, almost $1 million for seminary formation. We start having to turn men away who have an authentic vocation to the priesthood because we can't afford it. And so if there was ever a time to rise to the occasion, the time is now. Jesus needs you all on board right now because we're heading into some really serious stuff. I will leave you with this thought. Not so long ago, what's it been, 6, 7 months we've been going through this? It got all taken away. I want you to remember what it felt like when you couldn't go to Mass any longer, when you couldn't come here to go to confession, when you couldn't even come here to pray. Nobody ever thought about it, nobody ever even considered the possibility of it, and then poof, there it was. That reality, friends, speaks volumes to what can happen, and extremely quickly. And so preparation in these very turbulent, unstable times is extraordinarily important so that we don't lose what belongs to this family. Because once it's gone, what it took generations to build up, many times is impossible to get back. Now is our time, like never before. Put Jesus and his family and his kingdom first, both financially and every other way, above all things. And I promise you, everything else will be given to you, and he will take you through even the worst of times. May God bless you, and thank you for your continued generosity to St. Leo's and the diocese.